involved. And again, we're going to put into place strategies, actual programs, like the gun court and the gun squad, and we're going to be taking a look at other pilots that have been very successful in other states, developed by the John Jay College School of Criminal Law. We're going to implement those years. We can't continue to try and employ the same failed strategies because we're going to get the same failed results. We need to do something different. We need to be aggressive, and we need to change the philosophy. And if we talk about involving parents and involving people from the community, you know what? We have to rebuild trust. And you don't do that by every time that the young person gets killed, you say, well, he's a gangbanger, or he was doing this, or he was doing that. And if you're not involved in that, that's not going to happen. Well, that's not true. You have plenty of innocent people getting hurt. Everybody, when there's a crime that happens in Springfield, everybody gets hurt. And you can't reduce a human life to a label. And that has to change if we want to rebuild trust in our communities.
Ms. Pepe.
Let's be honest, everybody remembers Holyoke. Nobody would go in Holyoke, nobody would open a business in Holyoke, nobody would walk in Holyoke or buy a home until Chief Scott got there. And when he arrived, all the nonsense stopped. He held people accountable. And let me tell you, he had a drug task force. He had a gang task force. He held the courts accountable. He sat in the courtrooms. He was a chief that came out and talked. He didn't hide behind a communication specialist. We have more communication specialists in this city than we have people that do anything. So, as I said before, one of my first things is to start a community police force. Why can't we do it? It works in our schools. We have Quebec officers. The kids learn to trust, they learn to talk, they learn to confide in these police officers. We can get that in our neighborhood councils. And the businesses that don't have a spot for the neighborhoods that don't, then I will negotiate with the businesses. And I'm sure there are businesses with space in there that they would allow a police officer to take the time to meet with citizens, to do a park and ride. This is one of the solutions. The other one is definitely holding the chief accountable. I don't know what else, other than going out there with a six-shooter myself. But the thing is, we have to start holding even the mayor accountable. The mayor had a report card. Well, guess what? He wouldn't have graduated this year either with a bunch of kids that didn't graduate from Springfield Public Schools.
The next question will be asked by Archbishop Timothy Paul.
Thank you, Reverend Swan. Mahatma Gandhi says that poverty is the worst form of violence. Springfield is one of the poorest cities in this country. Politicians faithfully visit the church every election season. We always see the politicians, but there are cities that have recognized the value of the faith-based community. Cities like Houston, Texas, with Kirby Caldwell, have developed one of the largest developments of housing, affordable housing, in the city, as well as medical facilities. Cities like Queens, New York, where Floyd Flake has been named the largest private sector employer in the entire borough of Queens. Cities like Baltimore, Maryland, where the New Song Church developed the Sandtown Habitat for Humanity and has built more than 350 homes. My question to each of you, knowing that the cities need economic development, housing, and is presented with a wide array of problems, would you consider partnering with the faith community to establish an Office of Faith-Based Community Services to level the playing field, where you can bring the interest from your own communities to help develop this city, Springfield?
I'm going to ask Ms. Pepe to answer that question first.
Well, first you have ward representation. You have your city councilors that were elected in the ward. They should also be working right along with the churches. And yes, I would definitely sit down with anybody who has a very good idea. Let me tell you the difference between myself and the mayor. My office isn't going to be open to a select few. It's going to be open. It's going to be open, and I am not going to have people sitting behind desks all day. Those people will be out in the community. They will be out there to find out exactly what we need, and when we have some ideas to come up, we will use them. And if they're viable and they're good ideas, we certainly will. And let me tell you something. The problem with, in this system and with society, we now consider poor a race. Have you listened to it? If you're African American, Hispanic, white, and now it's poor. Now it's poor when they come to grading our kids. When they get to talk about our people. If you're poor, that means you haven't got too much up here. All it means is you're poor. And I've been there. And I've been very poor. And I had to send 50 cents a week to doctors, so I know what it is to have a husband out of work and 3 sick kids and somebody in the hospital. Definitely I will be working to make it better. That's the only way we're going to fix Springfield. That's the only way we're going to find places for people. We can't just keep shoving people someplace. We have to create a place and we have to create a job, but we have to create dignity. Where's the dignity with it? That's what we forget about, the dignity.
Mayor Sarno.
Thank you, Archbishop. We're already doing it. Working very closely with you and the Council of Churches with the new Holiday Inn Express that is coming forth at State Street, 97, 98 rooms. We work with the Council of Churches and Catholic Charities. They were did a tremendous job during the tornado relief and helping homeowners and helping tenants that needed help for first or last month's rent. We were able to coordinate that as we move forward. We're already doing it with Springfield College. HAP, Habitat for Humanity, Council of Churches. We're building the Old Hill Housing Initiative right in this area here. Tyler Street, Quincy Street. I could go on and on. Would I like to do it quicker and more aggressive? Yes, we work with HUD, as you know, hand in hand. The federal government is now tied. Their hands are tied right now. They're fighting each other. So the money's not trickling down from the federal government, which in turn doesn't trickle down to the state, which in turn doesn't trickle down to the local level. But even with that, we have programs in place. Would I like to do more? Yes. I think our halls of wisdom are our churches. And many a times you can help people see the light, whether young or old, and they can spread that word, whether it's pertaining to youth violence, economic development, housing initiatives, education. But we are doing these things, and I want to do more. But you have to be realistic. We're governing in the worst economic times since the Great Depression. I haven't said that. The experts have said that. But we've had a can-do attitude. And these are programs that are working. I'd like to do more as we move forward because I think they're key to neighborhood stabilization as you're dealing with derelict properties. Somebody owning a home, somebody having a job, there's pride there. There's identity. And there's emotion to move forward, not helpless, but in a positive way. So anything we can do to empower. You hear on the federal level now the E word of entitlement. I look at these programs as empowerment programs. They're trying to divide. So we are doing it, Archbishop, and we'll continue to work forward to do more.
Mr. Tasato.
Thank you. It's hard to know what's going on and what's not going on in the city of Springfield because the mayor really keeps a close ship or tight lips and only allows information to those who are in their group. The city council, the school committee, we remain in the dark, and that's not pointing fingers. That's just absolutely true. Actually, we've been doing that. Even on the city council, we've been working closely with the Pioneer Valley Project for a number of years. I personally have a very close relationship with them, and through our relationship, we've been able to mount a fight against the biomass plant. And people know where my position on that was, where I voted for it openly the first time around on the information that we had. Everybody voted for it. After receiving more information from health experts, I was actually led the lead on the city council to revoke the special permit on that. And that was work done with many organizations, but with the Pioneer Valley Project that's made up of many folks from the clergy. We also, working with them, developed the first language access ordinance for the city of Springfield, so that when folks call 911 within the police department, you have someone there that can actually understand their language and get back to them and be able to provide an emergency response. We also work with them in